Okay, so good morning to all. We shall continue with the next class of anti-epileptic drugs, that is benzodiazepines. Okay, so under this, the first example is clonazepam. Now, this particular agent, okay, all the benzodiazepines, they have the mechanism of action which is same as that of hypnotics. Okay, but these are the examples out of all the BZDs. There are many examples as you all are aware of. Okay, but specifically these benzodiazepines discussed under this particular chapter, they have specific prominent anticonvulsant action. Alright, so no doubt they have sedative property, but they are most selective towards the production of anticonvulsant action as compared to the hypnotic property. Okay, now coming to this first example, however, if you can see that it is singularly ineffective and in generalized tonic-clonic seizures, that means singularly, meaning alone, if this particular drug is given, it is not effective in the treatment of generalized tonic-clonic seizure. Okay, so most of the agents, if you can see that they are used as an add-on therapy. Okay, so already we have discussed the main drugs which are given as the first line treatments. Okay, then coming to the pharmacokinetics of clonazepam, oral absorption of this particular drug is very good. Plasma protein binding is 85%. It is completely metabolized in the liver, and ultimately the metabolites are excreted in the urine. And the T half-life, you can see it is quite longer. It is round about 24 hours, and no active metabolite is generated by this particular metabolism of this clonazepam. Coming to the adverse effects, the most important side effect is sedation and dullness. Okay, so sedative action, no doubt it is having selective anticonvulsant property, but yet it will have some degree of drowsiness, that is some degree of sedation and dullness. So mental impairment is there. Okay, but this particular side effect can be minimized by starting at a lower dose. So if you started at a lower dose and then slowly go on increasing up to the therapeutic dose, these particular adverse effects can be ruled out. Apart from this, lack of concentration. Okay, so the person may not be able to concentrate, so mind will not be active, so skillful performances, they are not supposed to be performed because of sedation and lack of concentration. Okay, so driving or maybe operation of certain machine should not be done, otherwise there are chances of accidents. Then irritability in the behavior, temper may change. Okay, that means it determines the state of your mind, whether you are calm or whether you are angry, okay, or short tempered or whatever. Okay, so temper of the person may change, and some other behavioral abnormalities, especially in the small children, also may take place. Then motor disturbances and ataxia, that is motor incoordination, are also seen. Okay, so again it adds to the impairment, and you are not supposed to perform any skillful actions like operation of machines or drivings. It may not be possible, or it may lead to accidents. Then also secretions are also increasing, that is salivation may be increased. Okay, too much of saliva production may be seen in the mouth. Also it can increase the respiratory secretions. Coming to the uses, this particular drug is employed in the treatment of absence seizure. Okay, and as an adjunct in myoclonic and akinetic type of epilepsy, and also it has some degree of benefit in infantile spasm also. These are all the types of generalized seizures. Then coming to the next drug, that is clobazam. This is 1,5-benzodiazepine. This was introduced initially as an anxiolytic, that is in the treatment of anxiety, as an anti-anxiety drug, but later on it also was found to be possessing anti-epileptic activity also, specifically in partial seizures which are secondarily generalized. Okay, that is secondarily generalized tonic-clonic seizures, as well as in absence as well as atonic seizures. Then the advantage, one more advantage of this particular compound is sedation and psychomotor retardation. These are less prominent. Okay, when you compare with the other BZDs. Okay, but Rest of the side effect profile is same as that of other BZDs. Only thing is sedation and psychomotor impairment. This is less likely with this particular compound. So this is a major advantage. So it is having more selective anticonvulsant property. Mechanism of action, it is same as that of mechanism of the hypnotic drugs, that is facilitation of the GABA action. That is, it promotes GABA binding to its receptor and opens the chloride ion channel. That's how it is producing the anticonvulsant property also. Then oral bioavailability of this particular compound, the kinetics part, oral bioavailability is around about 90%. So it is quite well absorbed drug. So a good bioavailability is seen over here. Elimination T half-life, that is that of the metabolism and excretion, it is 18 hours, but after metabolism it is generating an active metabolite, and that particular active metabolite is having a longer T half-life, round about 35 hours. So actual drug is having a short T half-life, okay, but the T half-life of the active metabolite is round about 35 hours, okay. And then coming to the uses, it is basically used as an adjuvant drug to other anti-epileptics like the first line treatment like phenytoin, carbamazepine, valproate or phenobarbital, especially in the refractory epilepsies. Now refractory epilepsies meaning those which are not controlled by the actual treatment, okay. So refractory cases meaning those which cannot be controlled very effectively. So these can be effectively controlled when clobazam is added to the first line treatment. So it helps in controlling the refractory type of epilepsies also, which cannot be controlled by other agents. The next drug over here is diazepam. Okay, now this particular drug, it is effective against variety of models, okay, used in testing of anti-epileptic activity of the drug. That means it is effective against many types of epilepsies, okay, but long term use of this particular drug is not very advisable because of the prominent sedative action, okay, and rapid development of tolerance to the anti-epileptic effect. So these are the major drawback with diazepam, that is, it has a greater degree of sedative property, okay. When you compare these four anticonvulsant agent, anticonvulsant BZDs, these have more of the sedative property, and also over a period of time, if you use this particular drug continuously, it may develop tolerance towards the anti-epileptic effect. So slowly the effectiveness of the drug will go on reducing. However, this particular drug, it is a drug of choice in case of emergency control of convulsions, okay. By IV route, it is mostly given in case of emergency control, okay, for life threatening conditions like status epilepticus, as we have seen that here the brain is in under the state of persistent seizures, then tetanus, then eclampsia. Over here in case of pregnancy, high blood pressure may also precipitate the seizures. So seizures may be associated over here during pregnancies. So over here diazepam can effectively control this condition. So also it is used in case of emergency wherein convulsant drug poisoning has taken place. So convulsant drugs meaning the CNS stimulant drugs which have convulsant property. There is a class under CNS stimulant drug. There are certain examples, picrotoxin, okay, strychnine is the example. Apart from that, pentylene tetrazole. So these are CNS stimulant drugs which can induce convulsions. These are the drugs which are actually used to induce the convulsions in the laboratory animals. They do not have any therapeutic usage, okay, but suppose in case if in case of accidental poisoning has taken place, then diazepam can be given, okay. So it can effectively control the convulsions which are caused due to poisoning of the convulsant drugs. Then marked fall in BP and respiratory depression can occur as side effect, okay, because it is given in the form of IV route, okay. As such, benzodiazepines are safer, okay, but in case of sometimes if you give it by IV route, it can precipitate the increase in the blood pressure, okay, sorry, for the fall in blood pressure and respiratory depression. Then another use of this particular agent is in case of febrile convulsions in small children. That is, here convulsion is associated with the rise in the body temperature. Okay, so over here rectal instillation of diazepam is preferred. It is administered through rectal route in the small children. Then the next drug is lorazepam. This is an alternative drug to diazepam, especially in controlling the emergency conditions. Okay, so status epilepticus or other type of emergencies, as we have seen under diazepam. Okay, so because it can be injected safely. Okay, so these have less of local damage to the blood vessels when they are injected as compared to diazepam. So that's how they are preferred over diazepam in case of emergency action, because injections become more convenient, or rather they are not damaging. Then the next drug is lamotrigine. This belongs to the next class. We are finished with the benzodiazepine. This particular drug lamotrigine belongs to the phenyltrazine class. Coming to the mechanism of action of lamotrigine, it acts by prolonging the inactivated state of sodium ion channels. That is, mechanism of action similar to that of phenytoin. So it prolongs the inactivated state of sodium ion channels so that they are not activated. So opening of the sodium ion channels will get delayed so that the depolarization shift is prevented. Also, they suppress the high frequency firing of the neurons. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action. Okay, apart from this, additionally it is also acting by blocking the voltage sensitive sodium ion channels. Okay, so here it is inactivating the it is prolonging the inactivated state of sodium ion channels. And another mechanism is also utilized over here. It can directly block the voltage sensitive sodium ion channels also. So thereby stabilizing the membrane potential. So also certain release of excitatory neurotransmitters like glutamate and aspartate. So their release, excitatory neurotransmitters release is also prevented so that it will suppress the repetitive firing. Coming to the pharmacokinetics, it is well absorbed orally and metabolized completely in the liver, and the T half-life of the drug is 24 hours. So this is also quite a long acting drug. Coming to the interactions, the T half-life of this particular drug, lamotrigine, it is reduced to round about 16 hours. Actually the T half-life is 24 hours. But when this particular drug is combined with, or when it is given in patients who are receiving or already on phenytoin, carbamazepine and phenobarbital treatment, if it is combined with these drugs, then the T half-life of this drug is reduced to round about 16 hours from 24 hours. That's because we have already seen that these agents are enzyme inducers. So they will induce the metabolism and lamotrigine will be removed out of the body. It will be eliminated and the T half-life of the drug is reduced to just 16 hours. So you should be careful while administering this particular combination. Apart from that, there is one more interaction with the valproate, sodium valproate. This inhibits the glucuronide conjugation of lamotrigine. Okay, so valproate is inhibiting the metabolism of lamotrigine, thereby doubling the blood level of lamotrigine. So lamotrigine plasma concentration will get doubled because of the inhibition of metabolism by valproate. Okay, so whenever it is supposed to be combined with valproate, you need to halve the dose of lamotrigine in such patients. Okay, so also lamotrigine is also lowering the levels of valproate. Okay, so both are interacting with each other. Then coming to the side effects, sleepiness, dizziness is seen, diplopia, that is double vision of the single object, ataxia, that is motor incoordination, vomiting sensation is also produced. Then rashes, at times rashes are quite severe, okay, especially in children. They are so severe that you may have to withdraw the treatment, you may have to stop the treatment. So severe type of rashes may be seen especially in children. Okay, so as far as possible, it is supposed to be avoided in small children, and if at all it is supposed to be given, supposing if there are rashes, you need to withdraw the treatment. Coming to the uses, this is found to be effective as monotherapy, that is singularly, alone. When this particular drug is given, it is effective in partial seizures and generalized tonic-clonic seizures. Apart from that, absent seizures and myoclonic or akinetic type of epilepsies can also be treated successfully with the use of this drug. Then coming to the next class, that is cyclic GABA analogs. The first example over here is gabapentin. Coming to the mechanism of action, actually this particular drug, though it is a cyclic GABA analog, okay, as such it is not acting as an agonist at GABA receptor. It doesn't bind to the GABA receptor or stimulate the GABA receptor, but when it is administered, it can cross the blood-brain barrier, it can reach the brain very easily, and it enhances the GABA release. Okay, so this is how it is producing its action. So it's having an indirect action. So it is increasing the release of GABA, which will in turn go and bind to the GABA receptor. Itself, gabapentin cannot bind or stimulate the GABA receptor. It acts indirectly by enhancing the release of GABA, which will go and bind to the GABA receptor, and it will result in the inhibition. Okay. Then apart from that, recently some additional mechanisms have also been added. Okay, so it is seen to modulate the voltage sensitive calcium ion channels also. Okay, so because of its action on the calcium ion channels, especially the voltage sensitive calcium ion channels, it is reducing the entry of the calcium ions. So it is because of this decreased entry of calcium, okay, into the presynaptic neurons, okay, it is reducing the glutamate release. Okay, so glutamate, it is a excitatory transmitter, you are already aware of. Okay, so its release is reduced, so that's how excitability, the neuronal excitability is reduced. Coming to the uses, it is effective in generalized tonic-clonic seizures and absent seizures. Apart from that, when you add it to the first line treatment, even the refractory type of seizures, okay, those which are not effectively treated, okay, by other drugs. So if you add this particular drug to the main therapy or the first line drugs, the refractory partial seizures with or without generalization, these can also be effectively controlled. Okay, so this is to do with the combination treatment as an adjuvant. Apart from that, monotherapy, okay, it is also effective singularly in case of treatment of simple partial seizures and complex partial seizures. Okay, but mostly it is preferred as an add-on therapy with the other important agent. However, it is found to be effective singularly also. Okay, but mostly as far as possible, it is combined with the other first line treatment. Okay, apart from controlling the seizures or epilepsies, gabapentin also is a first line treatment in controlling the pain which may be arising due to some other complications like diabetic neuropathy. Okay, because diabetic patients, they are prone to development of neuropathies. Okay, so pain which may be associated with diabetic neuropathy or postherpetic neuralgias. Over here, this is a consequence wherein the nervous system is affected as a consequence of some kind of viral infections. Okay, so following this viral infection, some neuronal damage may take place and pain may be associated with those damaged neurons. So this particular condition is also effectively controlled by gabapentin. Apart from that, it is also having prophylactic value in the treatment of migraine. So preventive role is also seen with the gabapentin in case of migraine treatment. Also, it is an alternative drug for phobic state, that is phobia. Phobia meaning fear or anxiety about something, maybe about future or about a particular thing or something like that. Okay, so it is also used as an alternative in the treatment of phobias. Then coming to the pharmacokinetics, this particular drug gabapentin is well absorbed orally and excreted unchanged in the urine. Okay, so metabolism does not take place, and the T half life of the drug is just 6 hours. So it's quite a short acting drug. One more advantage over here is no change of dose of primary anti-epileptic drugs is required when gabapentin is added. So there is no interactions, drug interactions taking place even when it is combined with other drugs. As we have seen under uses that mostly it is used as an add-on therapy or adjuvant therapy. So when you combine it with the other drugs, there is no need to change any dose of any primary anti-epileptic drug or the main drugs. Okay, so no chances of interactions over here. The side effects are also quite less and mild. Okay, so mild sedation, tiredness, dizziness, that is giddiness, and unsteadiness may be precipitated. Another example of a cyclic GABA analog is pregabalin. So this is a newer congener of gabapentin. Properties are similar, pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic properties, even the indications, that is the uses, are also same as that of gabapentin. Specifically, this particular drug is used in the treatment of neuropathic pain, especially that which is occurring due to the diabetic neuropathy, postherpetic neuralgia, as we have discussed earlier, complex regional pain syndrome. Over here a single limb may be affected, any one of the limb of the person may be affected, so neurons in that limb may be affected, so that there may be painful sensation or swelling in that particular limb may be produced, or some other kind of chronic pains may also be effectively controlled by this particular drug. Then advantage of this particular drug is sedative property is less prominent as compared to other drugs. Okay, so side effects are quite less in terms of CNS side effect. Okay, that is sedative property. However, concentration is affected of that particular person. Okay, so the person may not be able to concentrate appropriately, rashes may be produced, and some other kind of allergic reactions may also be precipitated. Okay, so this finishes the cyclic GABA analogs. Now the last class, that is the newer agents. Okay, so recently added examples of anti-epileptic drugs. The first example under this is vigabatrin or gamma vinyl GABA. The mechanism of action over here is inhibition of GABA transaminase. Okay, now this particular enzyme GABA transaminase is responsible for the degradation of GABA or metabolism of GABA. Okay, so by inhibiting this enzyme GABA transaminase, the metabolism of GABA will be reduced. So it will remain in the cleft or wherever it is released. So it will remain over there for a longer period of time, and it will act for a longer period of time. So, and it will go and bind to the receptors, and it will result in the anticonvulsant action. Okay, so whatever GABA is released, it will not be metabolized further. Okay, because of inhibition of metabolizing enzyme GABA transaminases. Okay, then next coming to the uses of vigabatrin, it is effective in generalized tonic-clonic seizures. Okay, especially in case of refractory epilepsies. Okay, can also be treated, those which cannot be handled appropriately or cannot be treated well by other first line drug. Okay, so it can be effective in controlling the refractory epilepsies also, especially the complex partial seizures which are associated with or without generalization. Okay, but it is used only as an adjuvant medication, that is along with the other first line treatment. Okay, when they are unable to control the conditions effectively, you can add this particular agent vigabatrin. So most of the agents are add-on therapies. Okay, coming to the side effects, the first one is visual field contraction. So over here the visual field meaning the area which you are able to see. Now when you are looking at a particular object, when you are looking at a particular single object, is it that you can see only that object? No, you can see certain other areas also, though they are blurred, but you can see the things which are kept around or around that object. So you have a particular visual field which your eye can cover. Okay, but that in this case that visual field contraction will take place. That is, it will get converged. Okay, you will be able to see a lesser particular area. Then apart from this, behavioral changes, depression and psychosis like condition may also be precipitated in certain individuals. These are rare to occur. The next drug is topiramate. The mechanism of action is similar to that of phenytoin, that is prolongation of sodium ion channels in the inactivated state. Apart from that, it is also potentiating the GABA. Okay, GABA action potentiation also is taking place. Apart from that, antagonism of glutamate receptors. Glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. So glutamate receptors are antagonized, so that the glutamate, even if it is released, it is not able to bind to the receptor. So also it is responsible for neuronal hyperpolarization. Okay, that is decrease in the potentials. Okay, so hyperpolarization also is produced by its interaction with the potassium ion channel. So it is acting by multiple mechanism of actions. Coming to the pharmacokinetics, it is readily absorbed orally. Oral absorption is quite good and primarily excreted in the unchanged form in the urine. So no metabolism is taking place over here, and the T half-life of the drug is 24 hours. Coming to the adverse effects, impairment of attention, that the person may not be able to concentrate appropriately. Sedation may be produced, motor incoordination, that is ataxia, word finding difficulties, that means you know the words, but when you are speaking you are not able to recall those words quickly. Okay, so you need to think what is that particular word while speaking. Okay, so certain words you are not able to find very quickly, so that condition is known as word finding difficulties. Poor memory is affected. Weight loss. Paresthesias meaning tickling or tingling sensation or pricking sensation, just like what happens when someone pokes you with a needle. So such kind of sensations will be seen. Okay, apart from that, renal stones may also be precipitated. Coming to the uses, it is indicated both as a monotherapy as well as an add-on therapy. Okay, so it is effective singularly also and also in combination with the first line treatment, especially in the refractory cases. It is combined with the other drugs in the treatment of simple partial seizures, complex partial seizures and generalized tonic-clonic seizures. Also myoclonic epilepsies may also be treated, and recently it is also useful in the prophylaxis of migraine. Okay, especially it is used as an alternative wherein beta blockers or other prophylactic drugs are either contraindicated or maybe they are not effective. So at that time you can switch over to this particular agent. Then next, coming to tiagabin. This is also a newer anticonvulsant drug which is potentiating the GABA mediated neuronal inhibition. But here the mechanism of action is little bit different. Now how it is acting is, it is acting by depressing this particular transporter. Okay, the transporter GAT1. Now this transporter is responsible for removal of the GABA from the site where it is released. That is within the synapse where the GABA is released. Over there, this particular transporter takes GABA back inside the neurons or inside the glial cells. So that's how the termination of action of GABA will take place. But when tiagabin is given, it will depress this transporter or it will inhibit this particular transporter which is responsible for removal of the GABA from the synaptic site, so that GABA will remain over there wherever it is released in the synapse. It will remain over there for a longer period of time and it will act for a longer period of time, and that's how it is showing the anticonvulsant property. It is effective in the treatment of generalized tonic-clonic seizures, that is the uses of tiagabin, generalized tonic-clonic seizures and absence seizures. And recently, okay, this is also approved for add-on therapy with the partial seizures. Okay, partial seizures wherein may or may not the generalization has taken place. So whether the secondary generalization is present or it is absent, it may be used as an add-on therapy. Okay, then coming to the side effects, mild sedation, nervousness, asthenia, that is sudden weakness, okay, tiredness, feeling, asthenia or amnesia, that is a dreamlike or confusional state, and abdominal pain may be precipitated. The next drug is zonisamide. This is another new agent which has been discovered. It has weak carbonic anhydrase inhibitory action. You all are already aware of this carbonic anhydrase enzyme. Okay, we have already dealt with in the chapter diuretics. Okay, so this actually has a weak carbonic anhydrase inhibitory action also. But over here, as an anticonvulsant drug, the mechanism of action is prolongation of sodium ion channel inactivation state. That is, again it is acting just like your phenytoin. That is, it keeps the sodium ion channels in an inactivated state over a period of time so that depolarization shift will not take place and repetitive firing will not occur. So also another mechanism is by suppression of T type of calcium currents. Okay, just like your ethosuximide. Okay, so similar mechanism is followed over here also. Coming to the uses, this is indicated as an add-on drug therapy. Okay, so again it is used as an adjuvant drug. Okay, in case of specially refractory partial seizures which are not effectively controlled alone by the main drug. So you can add this particular agent to that. It will effectively help in controlling the refractory epilepsies. Coming to the kinetics, it is well absorbed orally and mainly excreted in the unchanged form in the urine. No metabolism is taking place over here, and the T half-life is quite very long. More than 60 hours is the T half-life of this particular drug. Okay, and very small fraction. Okay, that is, it is mainly getting excreted in the unchanged form. So a very negligible amount of oxidation and glucuronide conjugation may occur, but mostly it is excreted in the unchanged form. Coming to the side effects, somnolence, that is the tendency to go to sleep, okay, deep sleep, okay, or the person may want to sleep for a longer period of time. So this condition is known as somnolence. Dizziness, that is feeling of giddiness, then headache, irritability, and anorexia. Anorexia is a eating disorder wherein the person does not eat appropriately, maybe because of the concern about the body weight or figure or something like that. But anorexia is a eating disorder where the person doesn't eat appropriately. So weight loss and all complications may also take place. Apart from that, metabolic acidosis and renal stones can also occur. Then contraindications, it is supposed to be avoided in patients who are sensitive towards the sulfonamides. So if you are already aware of this, better avoid this particular drug in such patients who are sensitive to sulfonamide. So also it is not supposed to be given to the small children. Next drug is levetiracetam. Okay, now this particular drug also is an adjuvant medication in the refractory partial seizures with or without secondary generalization. So most of the drugs over here, as you can see, that they are mostly used as the adjuvant drug. Okay, then if you see the mechanism of action, none of the usual anticonvulsant mechanisms is applicable to this. Okay, so mechanism of action of this drug is unknown, how exactly it is acting. Coming to the kinetics, it is completely absorbed orally, partly hydrolyzed, okay, but mainly excreted in the unchanged form. So very little metabolism will take place. Mostly the drug is excreted in the unchanged form, and the T half-life is quite very short, that is only 6 to 8 hours. Okay, and one more advantage with this particular drug is that it is neither oxidized by CYP enzymes. Okay, that is, CYP enzymes are not involved in the metabolism of this particular drug. Okay, mostly we have seen that it is only hydrolyzed and no other type of metabolism is taking place wherein CYP enzymes are involved. So also this particular drug does not induce the CYP enzymes or it is also not inhibiting them. Okay, so there are no chances of drug interactions when this drug is combined with the other drugs in case of refractory partial seizures. Coming to the side effects, sleepiness is produced, that is drowsiness, dizziness, weakness. Rarely behavioral changes may also be seen. Okay, and because of the drowsiness or sleepiness, driving may be affected. Okay, or because of the mental impairment, driving may be dangerous. Coming to the uses, it is used as an add-on therapy in case of complex partial seizures, generalized tonic-clonic seizures and myoclonic seizures. However, it is not supposed to be used in the small children, especially below 4 years of age. Next drug is lacosamide. This is again a recently introduced drug, again a add-on therapy used only in case of adults, and it is used mainly in case of partial seizures with or without generalization. The mechanism of action is again same as that of phenytoin. It enhances the sodium channel inactivation stage. That's how it is suppressing the repetitive neuronal firing. Okay. Then if you consider the kinetics, it is metabolized by CYP2C19. So interactions may be possible. If at all there are drugs which can induce or inhibit this enzyme, if they are combined, then there are chances of interactions, and the metabolites are excreted in the urine. Okay. In case if you are combining this, as we have seen that it is an add-on therapy, but even though if you combine it with other anti-epileptic agent, no need of dose adjustment is required, even if it is combined with the other drugs. Okay, because the interaction with the CYP enzymes is not seen with this particular drug. It does not induce or inhibit the other metabolizing enzyme itself. Coming to the adverse effects, these include ataxia, vertigo meaning the things around you will be seen to be as if they are moving around, okay, when they are steady. Okay, so that condition is vertigo. Diplopia, okay, again a double vision. Tremors may be precipitated. Depression, mental depression may be seen, or cardiac arrhythmias also may be precipitated. Okay. So this finishes the anti-epileptic drugs chapter. Coming to the few of the important questions pertaining to this chapter, anti-epileptic drugs. You need to know what is the definition of anti-epileptic drugs. Okay. Then next important question which may be asked in this particular chapter is the classification of anti-epileptic drugs. Then another important point, a very important point, is mechanism of action of any of the drugs can be asked. Mostly it is asked for 2 marks, or maybe it is combined with other question like classify the anti-epileptic drugs and write the mechanism of action of phenytoin. Okay, or say any other example. So mechanism of action of all the drugs is very important. Then the adverse effects of phenytoin, those which are seen at therapeutic doses, those which are seen at higher doses. Okay, so adverse effects are very important. Then pharmacology of these 3 drugs, these are the main drugs: phenytoin, valproate and carbamazepine. So a note can be asked on the pharmacology of these individual drugs also. So these are few of the important questions. Apart from that, justification may also be asked based on any kind of drug interaction, or maybe the adverse effect or contraindications. Okay, that is say for example these drugs are having teratogenic properties. Okay, so phenytoin is contraindicated during pregnancy. Okay, so why it is contraindicated? You need to justify that. Okay, because it produces the fetal hydantoin syndrome. Okay, so you need to give what are the types of defects it is precipitating. So such type of questions based on the justification, maybe interactions or contraindications may be asked in the exams.